What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So if you watched my previous videos back, I talked about competitive markets and what two competitive markets look like. So today we're going to be going over saturated markets. So saturation and competitiveness, they can go hand in hand or they can be separate. But basically for saturation, the big difference is that there's a lot of sellers. There's tons and tons of sellers that are trying to sell the exact same product. And for competitive products, that's usually when you have tons and tons of sellers that have a whole bunch of reviews. So if you go on the first page and then you see like everybody, especially within the first 10 listings, has 500 to 1,000 reviews, that's going to be a little bit harder to compete with. But for saturated markets, I feel like, in my opinion, it's going to be a little bit better to rank with, a little bit easier to compete and differentiate. But yeah, guys, that's what we're going to be going over in this video today. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a product that is very saturated and very competitive right now. It's probably more saturated than it is competitive, in all honesty. But you guys probably know it is the Jade Roller. So the main reason that this product actually got saturated is because of people finding it on the web app. And as you guys know, literally everybody uses the web app when they do product research for Jungle Scout, and when they use it, they put in the same exact information, the same revenue, the same price range, the same categories and stuff. So everybody's literally finding the same exact product and they're jumping on the same exact product. So that's something that you guys need to look out for. And I mentioned this in a previous video. These are example of products that are trendy or fads. Now, that's not to say that there's a lot of money in them, but over time, within a couple months, 3 to 6 months or so, this product became very, very competitive, and it was something that I tried to launch, and it was very hard to rank because there's just so many sellers. And as you can see here, and don't be tricked here with this guy, he's doing 75,000 with 0 reviews. This guy has had his reviews taken down 1 billion times, so I wouldn't even. He's getting so much organic traffic right now. It's just. He's able to sell that much. So if you look down here, there's just tons and tons of sellers on here. So let's go ahead and scroll down the bottom. So as you can see, there's 24 pages of sellers. So we can keep going here. And these are the type of markets that you do not want to jump onto, simply because there are just so many sellers selling all these different variations of Jade rollers, and it's going to be very, very hard to differentiate. And then a lot of people, what they try to do when they see this product, they see the numbers, right? They see that there's not too many reviews or not that many reviews that they have to compete with, but at the same time, there's just too many sellers that you have to outrank and outcompete. It just becomes a it's very difficult to do that, especially if you're trying to rank above these guys, sell more than them, and then also, of course, the big factor is differentiating. And the more sellers that you have, the more likely somebody's going to be able to differentiate similar to what you're thinking of. So as you can see here, one thing that a lot of people try to differentiate with is the gua sha right here, which is that like this small thing right here that comes with the Jade Roller. Other people try to change the colors, and honestly, it just got to the point where everybody was just doing the same exact thing. Everybody was differentiating the same exact way, and everyone just started losing money because everyone just copied each other. It's just horrible, and that's just an example of a market that is very saturated. But as far as reviews, it's not that competitive. So what I'm going to show you guys an example of is a product that is very, very competitive. I know I'm sidetracking here a little bit, but I just want to differentiate between the two for you guys. So let's go ahead and look at, you guys probably already know, but it's something like this, barbecue gloves. And then you go ahead and pull up the Jungle Scout Chrome extension here, and then I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people with tons of reviews. So this guy already has 3,300 reviews. This guy has 2,500. This one has 900 to 800. These guys are literally approaching to have 1,000 reviews probably within the next couple months here. But this is an example of a market that's very competitive. And as you scroll down here, there's people even towards the bottom that have a lot of reviews and still are not making that much revenue each month. So that is an example of a competitive market. Usually saturated markets, like I said, there's not going to be tons and tons of reviews on that market for different sellers, but there's just going to be a ton of sellers that are trying to jump on the same exact product. And honestly, for saturated and competitive markets, I would probably say avoid the two. Now, if you find a product out there that is competitive, maybe there's only 5 sellers or so, and each one has, anywhere from 100 reviews to maybe even 500 reviews, but you're able to differentiate and then get those initial 10 reviews, then that's an example of a product that you'd probably be able to jump on. Now, saturated markets, like I said, it's probably going to be a little bit harder, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, for competitive markets, it's probably going to be easier if there's not that many sellers. For saturated, now if you have a whole bunch of sellers in the saturated market that are literally all selling the same exact thing, like if they were selling, everyone's selling the exact same green jade roller, looks exactly the same. Everyone's try to even use the same exact pictures like they did for the angle ruler, then that's probably an opportunity for you to differentiate. You just have to scan the market and figure out if it is something that you can do, if the market is good enough for you to jump onto. But like I said, there's also another, like what I was talking about with the angle ruler, like there was a lot of sellers at the beginning when it first came out, because people were finding it with the web app. However, at the same time, everyone was literally using the same exact pictures, having the same exact angle ruler, the yellow one, and no one was differentiating. And that was an example of a market, like if you differentiated in it, despite the fact there were a lot of sellers, then you would have made a killing. And that's something that I made a mistake in, which I would have wished that I knew that at the time and knew that you had to actually launch your product. But that's okay. It's all a learning experience, and that's the only way you're going to learn is by making mistakes and failing. So yeah, guys, that's all I really wanted to talk about in this video. I just want to have a I just really wanted to distinguish between saturated and competitive markets, because I think a lot of people get those confused. But for competitive markets, it's fine as long that's good. Competition is good because you know that there's demand. However, if it is competitive and saturated, as in like if there's a lot of people with a lot of reviews and then there's a lot of people in general, over 20 people trying to sell the same product, then that's something that you might want to avoid. But like I said, if there's only a couple sellers that have a couple hundred reviews here, maybe there's one of 50 reviews, then that might be a opportunity, especially if they are selling the same exact product with no differentiation. So make sure you guys like down below, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you comment on what you guys want to see next. I also have different templates that you guys can be using to your advantage down below. One is for negotiating with suppliers, and then also another one is to create a very good product description and bullet points. So I will see you in the next video. Peace.